Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and what a day we had to finish off the Paris home series here at stage 3 of the CDL 2021. Some really interesting matchups, but very much so also some very interesting storylines, especially regarding the meta that we're going to get into here in the coming minutes. Take your thoughts in the comment section. I'd like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. Let's dive into things then without wasting any further time, because all the series today were very interesting indeed, and pretty much all these series are not necessarily must win for all the teams. With only 1 week left until the major seeding is officially determined, all of these series mean a lot for the series standings, at least within the groups, and of course only one team in each group gets the bye in the winners bracket, so everything is very important at this point. And as OpTic Chicago were teasing earlier in the day, as Envoy says right here, the Milano is indeed coming into play, and we will see effectively on one map at the very least a 4-weapon meta in play, as I've actually been talking about these last few days on the channel, like kind of hoping that might be the case. OpTic actually do put it out, but does it get pulled out to great effect? Will they do so once again in the future after, well, a difficult series, well, certainly to the Los Angeles Thieves, we will dive into here in just a couple of minutes time. So first of all, let's talk about Florida Mutineers versus the Paris Legion. This was a surprise to me, certainly, because Mutineers, I thought, okay, this is really a series they have to come in and win, right? If you're Mutineers, you're not winning this series against a Paris that just looked so bad their first couple of series of stage 3. Like, you know, what are you really doing at the end of the day? Especially because there are rumors right now going on the fact that, well, Huke has been in contact with the Mutineers. There's been some discussions going over there at the very least, supposedly. Maybe we'll talk about that in more detail tomorrow. But of course, if you're Mutineers, you're losing this series, you're thinking, wow, we need to maybe change something up pretty quickly indeed. Fair play to Paris, they looked actually really good in this one. Aqua actually had a great series, and that's something we really haven't seen from him the last two series they played. But when he does have a great series, there is an awful lot of firepower on this Paris team that honestly, they seem to kind of have the number of the Florida Mutineers right now. Game 1, honestly, looked like Mutineers were going to run away with it early on, but then, well, difficult series, at least statistically, from a lot of the guys on the Mutineers that we will look at, and the Paris Legion guys managed to get the job done there. Then we go into a search and destroy. Mutineers really should have lost this one as well here on this, well, Moscow search, as you can see, if this clip actually wants to play. But as you can see, 4-2 at this point. Sky6 a couple of massive kills. I believe Paris went up 5-3 in this one as well. Ended up choking it away. Florida Mutineers take this one in a 6-5 fashion, but the rest of the series does not go their way by any means. Here on the raid control, Paris take this one as well. Kind of like the orange they've got going on here, kind of a darker orange than what they usually do. Thought it looked kind of nice on the Cockcaster. Clearly that was the, well, impactful thing, as Scraps is getting absolutely monstrous amounts of kills over towards this B point, and Paris close out the control 3-1. And then we go into a final hard point as well, and well, honestly, this was really interesting on the Moscow, actually. I almost forgot about this until this tweet, because of course reminded me. So towards the end of the game, it was like 170 to 110 or something like that, and Paris once again were in the ascendancy. It looked like they were probably going to find a way to close it out, and Neptune lags out of the game. And it's really interesting what you do at this point, because Sky says pretty much immediately after, GG's Paris lost 1-3, Neptune's internet reset, feels bad, play Dallas next week. This was before we really knew if the series was going to be replayed, or not the series was going to be replayed, but if the map was going to be replayed. Like, it's a kind of a tough one to call in the way that we've typically had it, where if the game's really close, if it was like 120 to 110, maybe you go for the full replay of the map. But given the advantage that Florida had, and or the Paris had, sorry, in the series, or at least in the series and the map, of course, it's very difficult to go for a replay at that point, because, I mean, what do you do, right? Do you start with one team up 60 points, and you have to explain that, okay, when one team gets to 190, then they win? But it's all kind of strange how that works, right? Because, I mean, in terms of rotations and such, it all gets kind of awkward. So it was annoying that this happened, and the CDL effectively just decided, right, unlucky lads. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going to be down 2-1 in the series and down, you know, like 70 odd points to Paris Legion at hard points, you probably do deserve to lose the series at the end of the day. But obviously something we didn't necessarily want to see, as Neptune says, sucks the internet, went out, GG's to Paris, lost 3-1 in that one. And yeah, tough scenes for the Florida guys, and well, they fall short here, despite Neptune having had a pretty good series on the whole. Havoc doesn't have a great one, and well, really the big slaying talents on the Mutineers did not show up, whereas they certainly did on the side of the Paris Legion. Big series win for them, their first series win, I believe, now with 10 pins to line up. Let's talk about the second series then. Really interesting again, Rokkr versus Toronto. I did say earlier today I thought this was going to be the series when Toronto finally lost a map. It's probably not a crazy hard call to predict. It was going to happen eventually. The map that they do lose is the very first map here on Raid Hardpoint. I mean, Minnesota Rokkr are really good at this map. They get the job done, 250 to 203. Finally, the clutch factor from the Ultra doesn't turn up one time, but the rest of the series, it certainly does, and they're such an impressive team to watch, man. Toronto are so much fun right now. They are playing, honestly, COD on all cylinders a lot of the times. This search and destroy as well here on Checkmate was dominant. Usually we see a lot of defensive round wins from pretty much either team, and it goes at least 6-3, something like that. This map was a 6-1. I mean, I don't really know what the Rokkr guys were doing. They completely choked away 1 versus 3 to Insight in the final round. I mean, they challenged 1 by 1. Insight just picked up all the kills, an absolute search and destroy wizard that he has been certainly since joining this team, arguably the best search and destroy player in the game right now. You could probably say Insight with the amount of clutches he manages to make happen, and his KD, I'm sure, is pretty solid on the whole. And then we go into a control where Rokkr actually got up 2-0 here on this garrison, but well, as you can see, Toronto bring it back 3-2 right to the dying moments. And yeah, what a map from Cammy as well. He has a monstrous series right here, and really at the major it was like, alright, Bance, Clinics, they've really come to play, but now we're actually seeing Cammy get back to form. We're seeing Inside, of course, putting up crazy numbers, and I mean, this team is just so much fun to watch, and against a very tough Minnesota Rokkr opposition, they still get the job done and advance to 4-0 in their group. And this was the final map of the series, as you can see, a 100-point club domination fest here on Apocalypse Hardpoint, very similar actually to what we will see in the final series of the day that we are just about to dive into. So incredibly impressive from Toronto Ultra. They move on in very impressive fashion so far this season. I mean, what a team they have been. They haven't lost a series, of course, since right at the start of the Stage 2 Major. Very sloppy even, says Banto. Certainly even they realise there's things to improve on, there's ways to get better here, but they still do end up getting the W in the end. And you've got to think, after the sensitivity training that Cammy went through not too long ago, he now seems to be an absolute monster. And well, Ultra get the job done here in this series. Cammy with a 1.34, 87 in 65 from him. Unbelievable scenes. Toronto continue to look scary for sure. So these are the standings after that matchup did occur. So Toronto sitting at 4-0, dominating Group A as it stands, but Group B was very interesting indeed, because FaZe at 2-1, New York at 2-1, and really, as far as I can tell, it's between these top three teams, three of these teams will get out of the four teams into the winners bracket for the major. So either which team that won this series between OpTic and Thieves, it was going to be pretty massive for them. And well, Thieves get the job done in really interesting fashion, as we will look at. This game number 1 here on Checkmate, this was the first time that OpTic had lost this map the entire season. I believe they were 6-0 on this Checkmate tower point before going in. Of course, you're going to lose it eventually, right? But I mean, Thieves do a great job here. Honestly, it looked like OpTic were going to make a crazy comeback. I mean, they are really good at this map, but well, Thieves make a massive break right towards the end. And as you can see, they just about get the job done here. It looked like there was going to be another trademark Checkmate hardpoint comeback ready, where you just about hold on to the first hardpoint, and there's nothing you can really do. Hold the spawns for P2, and then you manage to close out the massive comeback, getting, well, the P1 to P2 rotation very nicely indeed. That doesn't happen though, because Thieves break into the final hardpoint, or this first hardpoint, very impressively. And as you can see, the trade here from Drazah and Venom especially. Venom was a monster today, by the way, as were pretty much everyone on the Los Angeles Thieves squad, and they close this out 250 to 205. Very close stuff indeed, but then the search and destroy is where things get very spicy. FFAR, as well, Merc notices on the back of Dashy, is officially coming to play. The Milano comes to play as well from it, maybe not to quite as much effect as Dashy was using it to, but on this map he had some phenomenal moments. I mean, early on in this game he had a 2-piece in the very front round. I think he had actually a 2-piece or 2 kills in the first round, 2-piece in this round, then just a couple of rounds later he had this pretty crazy 3-piece with it. This is a map that really suits the FFAR, right? You can imagine these pretty close range gunfights, kind of SMG type ranges. This is where the FFAR absolutely shines. As I say right here, Dashy trying his best to get the FFAR G8. Maybe that's something we can talk about in the coming days if it does continue to get discussed. Maybe if they'd have won this series, it would have been more on the cards. And well, as you can see right here as well, it's far too good with the FFAR. This 3-piece he gets as well onto Kenny is pretty disgusting. Controlling the recoil on this thing is not easy to do, and you kind of felt like today that Dashy maybe had to have a turn-up series to beat the Thieves, and well, he certainly seems to be doing so in this search and destroy right here. He closes it out, or Scump closes it out with a nice little ace here to finish off the job. And well, I think Dashy dropped 12 kills, Scump dropped 11 kills, something like that, and they move on in this map in a 6-3 fashion. But then we go into a control, and as Hitch says, now a 4-gun OpTic on raid. So we do get the thing that I've been talking about for quite a while now. Scump on the AK-74U, Envoy on the Milano, Dashy on the FFAR, and then Formal on the Krig. But it doesn't last too long, because the first couple of rounds OpTic kind of get smoked. I mean, they lost an offense, or they lost a defense that, well, Los Angeles Thieves won the offense. They probably shouldn't have lost that one. They should have been able to find a way to close it out, and they lose their offense as well. So they're down 0-2, and then Dashy decides, right, we're putting away the FFAR. He does put it out again, actually, in map 4 that we will look at. We're putting away the FFAR, we're bringing out the Krig. They win 2 phenomenal back-to-back rounds, well, the guys on OpTic, but not before that, well, just before that, Kenny goes on an absolute tear. This was actually ridiculous. Kenny clearly saying, okay, the FFAR, don't even worry about that thing. It's actually the Krig which is going to get the job done. Goes on effectively a 10 spree right here, killing everyone, gets a 4, basically a quad feed in the kill feed on the flank. I mean, you could hear Scump, I believe, in the listening they went to, saying, oh, he's behind us. And then, well, what do you know? Kenny's absolutely turning on form, well, not really turning on him, but nice little 90-degree snap right here. And then goes on right here to reload, get another load of kills in the spawn, get streaks, and the streak actually came in very handy indeed when they went all the way, of course, to a round 5 in this map. And OpTic bounced back, they win 2 nice rounds in a row, but well, it goes to a round 5 on this control, and Los Angeles Thieves closed out a very great clutch factor from them. And it wasn't long ago we were talking about Thieves getting absolutely bodied by OpTic pretty much every series they played them in. And here, even though this new meta that OpTic are trying to bring to the table, it seems like Thieves still were getting the better of them with the more traditional stuff that they pulled out. And then the final map of the series, once again here on Apocalypse Hype, and we've seen a lot of Apocalypses of late, and this was a really clinical affair from the Los Angeles Thieves. They had the rotations on lock, they were all getting kills at moments that they needed to. I mean, Venom had a phenomenal series on the whole. I mean, Kenny was obviously an absolute monster. Drazah did his thing, TJ had his moments as well, and they close out this map in very impressive fashion actually here on the Apocalypse. This was a map where I thought when it came in stage 2, this would actually be really good for OpTic. I thought this was going to be a great map for them. We see Dashy using the FFAR in this map once again as well, so you're kind of thinking maybe this map kind of suits what OpTic want to do, but they get kind of crushed on this one. Thieves win pretty much all the rotations, they clutch up when it matters, and Thieves winning a series against OpTic, that is not something I thought I'd be saying, well, this soon in the season really, given how bad they looked early on, but they make a couple of changes, Thieves looking so much better, and they advance to 3-1 in their group, OpTic now 2-1, so still all to play for, especially because OpTic play New York, not an easy matchup by any means, and FaZe to finish off the stage next week, so not the idealist series to lose certainly on the side of the OpTic Chicago. And as well, Kenny says right here, well, he doesn't actually say, but Breaking Point say, Kenny came to play a 1.30 KD in the series, 83 and 64, and while Venom and TJ don't have the best KDs, they certainly had some impactful moments, and it really was Dashy the only one putting up crazy numbers on the side of the OpTic boys with that FFAR, of course, in hand. And as Nature says, huge win, Kenny is a terror with the AR in hand. Love all the boys at OpTic, of course, but damn, it feels good to win one of these after all this time. Of course, what he was wanting for, right, coming back into the scene, winning a series against OpTic if you are Nature, it doesn't get too much better than that, but of course, well, they'll have to clutch up at the major and try and get the job done there if they can. This from Formula as well, couldn't get anything done today, felt like all my timings were 1 second off. GG's Thieves, we lost 1-3. More matches next weekend, of course, 2 very challenging matchups up against New York and Atlanta FaZe, as I just mentioned, and this I thought was pretty funny from Methods, just to finish off the video. COD fans heading over to Scump's mentions. The expert, I think he likes tweeting this out after a, well, series like this, and well, of course, not the greatest series to lose off the side of OpTic Gaming, with 2 very difficult series to come up next week, but I'm sure they can still clutch up and make it into the winners bracket. But well, one team certainly will not make it winners out of right now. Los Angeles Thieves looking pretty likely to do so. Atlanta FaZe very scary. New York Subliners and the OpTic Chicago. What will happen? We will have to stay tuned over the coming days. Intrigued to take your thoughts on all this stuff today in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Now you enjoyed this content, other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you very much as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.